Right, how are you doing everybody? Welcome to Russell Heritage Golf. Today got a fantastic drill that 100% you need to be doing, whether you have pivoting problems or rotational problems in your backswing position, transition, or even in the through swing. And all you need to resolve the problem is one of these. And not even this one in particular, just any chair. I'd recommend something, if you can, around about hip height. So this is slightly short, but it will do absolutely fine. Bit of garden furniture there. Before we kind of get stuck into basically what it is that you should be doing, let's talk about a couple of the problems that we basically tend to see and why we're discussing this. Okay, first one, and here's my tip when you do come to using the chair, make sure that in your posture your hips don't fall too far behind your ankle line, because from here you're going to find it really hard to stay in posture and to rotate without standing up. So that would be tip number one. Whether you're using the chair, make sure that you tuck under, nice bend from the waist, and then move the chair accordingly, which obviously we'll discuss in a moment, rather than going searching for the chair itself. Aside from that, then what you need to be doing is in the backswing position, the first problem that I tend to see is this sort of inability to get the right hip working back enough, and golfers tend to do things like stand up and the right hip kind of shoots more forward. So by simply trying to find the chair in the backswing position is going to help rectify that as well. But the bigger problem that I tend to see, and this is where the devil's in the detail with this drill, is golfers are uncertain as to how to start the downswing. And you're uncertain in the respect of, okay, if I'm here, should I rotate? And then am I spinning out, which I see loads with online lessons? Am I moving, you know, as I start from the downswing, should I be pulling left hip back and then we see the right hip firing forward? So golfers are generally struggling either in the backswing position, or they're definitely struggling when it comes to the transition. So we're going to move the chair around a little bit. First one is I'm going to place it, and if you want to do it like this, see the way I've tucked my foot underneath, I'm going to place it, I'm going to put my foot there though because of the design of this chair, against my right hip. Now in the backswing position, it's absolutely fine to create a little bit of a bump to shift pressure. That's something that I do, but you don't have to. But then as you swing up towards the top, when you rotate back, wherever you end up in terms of your upper body rotation, whether you're more central or whether you're more over towards your trail side, what we don't want is you don't want to swing up to the top and your hip is still in contact with the chair. What should happen is that the hip should work back into a more central position. Now, occasionally, like I said, it's okay to work on this because we don't necessarily want to go immediately this way. So if you're somebody who's been having online lessons and you're like, hang on a second, that's why. That's because you're one of those that's going this way, and I want you to go a little bit more that way first before then going deeper. So that would be the first thing. If we just flip it around and look from, again, the face-on perspective, but this time place it against my left hip, then the question would be, okay, well, if that's my setup position, and again, the chair is located pretty much over my ankle line, if I swing back and then I move a little bit over to my trail side, you're creating that amount of linear space that you can re-identify in the transition. So, you know, you don't want to be going this way in the start of the downswing because obviously you end up further behind the ball than where you started. But if you're a golfer who chooses to turn more centrally, then obviously you can try and work more this way. So the idea of the chair from the face-on perspective is that it's setting the boundaries of the amount of linear motion that you're able to create, which is why I like it. So that's the first way that you can do the drill. Second way is that it helps you stay in posture, like I alluded to earlier. So now, if I get myself into posture, I'm going to start, say, 3 fingertips distance away from the chair once in posture. In the backswing position, as we pull the right hip back, we should rotate the right hip so it, you know, pushes the chair. Now, because I'm somebody who moves slightly towards my right hand side, as I transition, I keep my right hip on the chair, and the feeling is that as my right hip stays on the chair, my left hip is basically joining the party. Now, that's it. So that would basically define the golfer who is spinning out, the right hip comes off the chair too soon, but also you would notice from the face-on perspective that you would end up leaving too much space, and that's why you can move a little linear. So the question is, those are your boundaries. That's what I'm saying. So those are a couple of ways for you to knock a chair next to you, re-watch this video and go, oh, I get it now. I'm okay to move here or there. As a feeling, basically where you want to get to for the majority of golfers who move slightly towards their trail side in the backswing, is that you want to swing back, and as you complete your backswing position, the feeling would basically be that your right hip would glide, yeah, along the chair. So you can see the way as I complete my backswing, the way that my right hip actually moves in a linear fashion across the chair like so. Then I pull the left hip back. So from a face-on perspective, I'm going here, then my right hip goes centrally, so my right hip is gliding along the chair as I'm completing the top and the backswing, and then I pull the left hip back. And this will create an abundance of space that, like, unbelievable, that for those golfers that are drifting closer to the ball. So this is a drill that we're going to come back to. And what I thought I would do first and foremost is, because again, people that have been having online lessons have said, look, let me get this video out, you guys can try and understand this. So again, a couple of struggling motions, and there'll be lots of golfers that will resonate with this. One is a lack of awareness as to how deep the hip needs to go. Well, there you go, there's a bit of implicit learning for you. Just find the chair, that will basically define the correct sort of rotational movement. But then it's like, okay, well, how do you do the transition? And the drill that I absolutely love for transitional motion is a stepping in drill, because it helps you move in this sort of sequence. And that's why I love the idea of the right hip. Yes, finding the chair early on in the backswing, but also gliding along the chair as you swing up towards the top, because it will help you maintain posture. And then from there, you can pull the left hip onto the chair. So it's a lot of information to take in. I get it. 100% we're going to revisit this drill, talk again about the boundaries, talk again about the sort of motion, because this can be applicable regardless of how you swing the club. Whether you're trying to swing more centrally, whether you're trying to introduce an element of linear, you just need to first and foremost identify what type of golfer that you are. And then you need to understand your boundaries. So, hopefully you enjoy the video. Hopefully you understand that you should basically, as the big thing that I would suggest, is take it back and then get the right hip gliding along the chair, right, in a linear fashion as you complete the backswing, then get the left hip on the chair. And then one more time from face on, it's gliding the right hip on the chair, pulling the left one back, and then hitting again. That is 100% what you need to do to control that pivoting action. And then eventually you'll be able to take those feelings over time down towards your driving range, get the same sort of spatial awareness as what we've just talked about, and start to notice a huge improvement on your consistency when it comes to hitting irons, well, and driver. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Always appreciate one of those. Remember, it's absolutely free to press that subscribe button. If you're going to do so, you might as well press the little bell icon, because that means you receive notifications every time a new video comes out. Work on it, get yourself a chair. Catch up with you guys soon.